Scotty Kilmer says, change your oil every 3,000 miles. ChrisFix says modern synthetics can stretch to 7,500. Scotty swears by thicker weights for high-mileage engines. ChrisFix sticks to whatever the owner's manual prints. Scotty has favorite filter brands he'll name on camera. ChrisFix tends to test multiple brands side by side and let the cut-open evidence decide. These two disagree on intervals, on viscosity, on brand loyalty, on whether you even need a fancy torque wrench for a daily driver. But there's one step in the oil change process where both of them stop arguing. One step where they say the exact same thing in nearly identical words, in video after video. And it's not the step you'd guess. It's not the drain. It's not the refill. It's what happens to that new filter before it ever touches the engine block. Here's something that may surprise you. Oil changes are statistically the most botched maintenance job in the country. AAA service bulletins have flagged improper oil service as a leading cause of preventable engine wear claims, and shop surveys from automotive trade publications consistently rank oil changes among the top 3 jobs that come back as comebacks within 30 days. That's wild when you think about it. Oil changes are supposed to be the easy one, the gateway maintenance, the thing every 15-year-old learns watching their dad on a Saturday morning. And yet, it's the job most likely to leave your engine slightly worse off than before you drove in. Why? Because the industry has compressed it. A full-service oil change at a quick lube chain is timed in minutes, not in care. Drain, swap, fill, sticker, next car. The technicians aren't malicious. They're just on a clock that doesn't reward thoroughness, and the customer doesn't know what to ask for because nobody ever taught them what a good oil change actually looks like. So mistakes that would horrify a careful DIYer become routine. Loose drain plugs, overfilled crankcases, forgotten gaskets, filters spun on so tight the next guy can't get them off without a strap wrench and a prayer. This matters because oil is the only thing between your moving metal parts and a very expensive repair. Research published through SAE technical papers on engine wear has shown that the majority of measurable engine wear over a vehicle's lifetime occurs in the first few seconds after startup. Not on the highway, not under load, at cold start, when the oil pump is still building pressure and the bearings are running on a memory of yesterday's film. So anything that lengthens that startup window, even by a few seconds, may compound across thousands of cold starts into real measurable damage. This is where Scotty and ChrisFix stop disagreeing. What do these two have in common? On the surface, not much. One's a longtime Houston mechanic with decades of shop experience and a YouTube channel built on bombastic warnings. The other's a meticulous home DIYer whose channel grew from clean, well-shot tutorials on car care basics. Different audiences, different styles, different generations of internet car content. But they share something the algorithm can't manufacture, which is hands-on time with engines that have failed. Both have torn down motors that died young. Both have seen the signature of dry start wear etched into bearing surfaces. Both have pulled filters off that left half a gasket behind. And both, independently, arrived at the same conclusion about how to prevent the 2 most common oil change-induced failures. The method is this: pre-fill the new oil filter with fresh oil before you spin it on. And before you install that new filter, physically inspect the engine block's filter mounting surface to confirm the old gasket came off with the old filter. That's it. 2 extra steps, maybe 90 seconds added to the whole job. And according to both of these guys, plus a stack of technical literature that doesn't get cited often enough on car YouTube, those 90 seconds may be the difference between an engine that goes 300,000 miles and one that develops a knock at 150. Let me explain why, because this is where it gets interesting. Picture a wooden door hinge that hasn't been oiled in a year. You push the door open and it groans. The metal pin is grinding against dry wood fibers, and every time you swing it, you're shaving off a tiny bit of material. Now imagine that hinge is inside your engine, and the door swings open 3,000 times per minute. That's roughly what a cold start looks like at the bearing level when the oil galleries are empty. The crankshaft is spinning, the rods are reciprocating, the cam lobes are dragging across the lifters, and the only thing protecting any of it is a thin residual film left over from the last time the engine ran. When you change the oil and install a brand new, bone-dry filter, you've just added an empty chamber to the system. That filter media has to soak through, the canister has to fill, and the oil pump has to push enough volume to pressurize everything downstream. On most engines, that takes somewhere between 4 and 10 seconds after you crank it. 10 seconds doesn't sound like much, but 10 seconds of metal-on-metal contact at startup, repeated every single oil change for the life of the vehicle, is the same logic as running a bicycle chain dry. The chain still spins, the bike still rolls, but every link is wearing into the next one. And a year later, you're replacing a drivetrain that should have lasted 3. GM published internal studies decades ago looking at cold start wear patterns, and those findings have been echoed by subsequent SAE friction research. The conclusion that keeps appearing is that prolonged dry starts may produce wear signatures consistent with thousands of miles of normal operation compressed into a single event. That's the part that should make every DIYer pause. You're not preventing a hypothetical problem, you're preventing a documented one. And the fix costs you nothing except the patience to pour oil into a filter before you install it. Now the second half of the method, the double gasket leak. This one's more dramatic and arguably more dangerous in the short term. Every spin-on oil filter has a rubber gasket, a ring of pliable material on the open face that seals against the engine block when you thread the filter on. After 10,000 miles of heat cycles, that gasket can stick to the engine hard. So when you go to remove the old filter, sometimes the canister comes off. But the gasket stays behind, glued to the block, almost invisible against the dark metal. The technician, or the DIYer who isn't looking for it, will spin the new filter on right over the old gasket. Now you have two rubber rings stacked on top of each other, and they cannot seal properly. What happens next depends on how lucky you are. Sometimes the engine leaks slowly, dribbling oil onto the driveway until someone notices the stain. Sometimes the gasket holds for the drive home and fails on the highway, dumping the entire sump in under a minute. That second scenario is the engine killer. Oil pressure drops to zero. The warning light flickers on, and by the time you've found a safe place to pull over, the bearings are already cooking. AAA bulletins on oil service complaints have repeatedly flagged double gasket failures as one of the most preventable causes of total engine loss following an oil change. Preventable because all it takes is looking. Reach up, run your finger around the filter mounting surface, and if you feel a ring of rubber that shouldn't be there, peel it off before the new filter goes on. This is why both Scotty and ChrisFix circle back to this method. It addresses the two failure modes that may turn an oil change from routine maintenance into an engine replacement. Dry start is the slow killer, double gasket is the fast one, and the fix for both lives in the same 90 seconds. Let's walk through the evidence behind each step. Pre-filling the filter sounds like overkill until you watch a transparent test rig. There are bench demonstrations floating around where someone has set up a clear oil filter housing to show how long it takes for oil to reach the engine after startup with a dry versus pre-filled filter. The difference is visible. Pre-filled, oil is moving through the system in roughly a second or two. Dry, you're watching the pump work for what feels like an eternity before flow reaches the far end of the gallery. Now, on a vertically mounted filter, you can fill it almost completely. On a horizontally mounted filter, you can only fill it partway without spilling, but even partial fill shortens the dry interval meaningfully. The point isn't to achieve perfection. The point is to reduce the window where your bearings are running on memory. The gasket check is even simpler to validate. Just look. Every reputable filter manufacturer prints instructions on the box advising you to verify that the old gasket came off with the old filter. It's not a secret. It's not an advanced technique. It's printed on the cardboard. But under the pressure of a 5-minute service bay, that step gets skipped routinely. And the consequences may be catastrophic for the customer who has no idea they should ask about it. There's also a third small habit both of these guys mention, which is wiping the mounting surface clean before the new filter goes on. Dust, old gasket residue, dried oil film, all of it can prevent a perfect seal. A clean shop towel, one swipe, done. It takes longer to describe than to perform. Now, to be fair, let's present the counter view. The quick lube approach isn't wrong by design. It's optimized for throughput. Drain, swap, fill, check, sticker, send. For the average commuter driving a modern car under warranty, that level of service is usually adequate, and millions of vehicles cycle through it without issue. Industry defenders will point out that modern oils have improved additive packages that may better tolerate brief dry starts, that modern filters often include anti-drainback valves that hold oil in the galleries between starts, and that the catastrophic failure rate from oil changes is statistically low when measured against total services performed. Those points have merit. Anti-drainback valves do help. Modern oils are remarkable compared to what your grandfather poured into his Buick. And a competent technician working at a fast pace can absolutely perform a clean oil change without pre-filling the filter or doing a deliberate gasket inspection, because experience has taught them where to feel and what to look for. But here's the gap. You, the customer, can't tell from the waiting room whether your technician is the careful one or the rushed one. You can't see the gasket check, you can't watch the fill, and when something goes wrong 3 weeks later, the paper trail rarely points back to the service that caused it. So the question isn't whether quick lube can be done well. The question is whether you have any way of knowing if it was done well on your vehicle on that day by that person. The answer is usually no. This is why the method matters even more for DIYers who have full control over the process. If you're doing it yourself, you have no excuse not to take the extra 90 seconds. And if you're paying someone else, you have every reason to ask whether they're doing it. So here's the action plan. If you're doing the oil change yourself at home, then follow this sequence. Step 1. Warm the engine up for a few minutes so the oil flows freely on drain. Step 2. Drain the oil into a proper catch pan and let it run until it slows to a slow drip, not just the first heavy flow. Step 3. Remove the old filter and immediately inspect the engine block mounting surface for any leftover gasket material. Run your finger around it. If you feel rubber that didn't come off with the filter, peel it away cleanly. Step 4. Wipe the mounting surface with a clean rag. Step 5. Take your new filter. Pour fresh oil into it slowly until it's as full as the orientation allows, and let the media soak for a minute so the oil distributes. Then smear a thin film of oil on the new gasket and spin the filter on by hand, tight enough that it seats firmly, but not so tight you'll need tools to remove it next time. Step 6. Replace the drain plug with a fresh crush washer if your engine uses one. Torque it to the manufacturer's spec, fill the crankcase to the correct level, start the engine, and watch the oil pressure light go out within a couple seconds. Then shut it down, wait a minute, and check the level again on the dipstick after the oil has settled. If you're paying a shop to do it, then ask them 2 specific questions. First, do you pre-fill the oil filter before installation? Second, do you verify that the old gasket came off the engine before installing the new filter? If they hesitate, if they laugh, if they tell you it's unnecessary, that's information. A shop that takes those steps seriously will answer yes without flinching, because it's how careful technicians have always worked. A shop that brushes it off may still do good work, but you've learned something about their process. And if they do botch your filter, you now know what to look for when you're standing over the driveway stain wondering what happened. One last thing on the oil monitor reset, because this trips up a lot of people. If your car has an electronic oil life monitor, reset it after the change, not before. The reset procedure varies by manufacturer, so check your owner's manual or look up the sequence for your specific vehicle. A reset monitor is just a number on a dashboard, but it's the number you'll use to schedule the next service, so getting it right keeps your intervals honest. This method isn't fancy, it isn't proprietary. It isn't something either Scotty or ChrisFix invented. It's just the careful version of a job that gets rushed everywhere else. And the reason both of them keep coming back to it is the same reason their viewers keep coming back to them. They've watched enough engines die young to know which corners shouldn't be cut. Try this on your next oil change. Whether you're under the car yourself or watching a tech do it through the service window, pay attention to the filter step. Pre-fill it if you can. Check the gasket every single time. And if you've already been doing it this way for years, leave a note below telling other viewers what kind of vehicle and how many miles you've put on this routine. The more data we share, the more useful this becomes for somebody who's about to do their first oil change this weekend and just wants to do it right.